Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now July 24th of 2022, and as we get closer to the release of Star Wars Andor, Bad Batch Season 2, as well as the Tales of the Jedi series, that means we're only going to get closer to the Mandalorian Season 3 by the beginning of 2023, which by the way, it is slated for a February of 23 release as long as production goes as smooth as possible from this point on forward. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, it is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about Disney and Lucasfilm is that they are currently focused on really giving fans a lot of new Star Wars Legends material that's going to be made canon in multiple shows like Ahsoka, Mando, and more. That's really going to resonate with fans. And it's all about pleasing the hardcore fans, because those are the fans, without a doubt, that have supported the franchise ever since the beginning and have seen the movies in theaters, 4, 5, 6 times over and over. Now, the thing about the current situation between Kathleen Kennedy and, of course, Disney is that she's still having a lot of issues with the Acolyte series. They're not going to begin filming this thing until November. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But when it involves the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, which by the way, Kathleen Kennedy had quite a bit of control over on the creative end because she had a contract with the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie trilogy story, and a lot of story elements from that project transferred over to the Kenobi show. So that's the best and shortest way to explain things. Now, on top of all of this, what's really unexpected and seems a little out of place is Kathleen Kennedy actually talking about the REVA backlash and how the fans dislike the character of REVA in the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. So, with that being said, of course, alright, with Kathleen Kennedy actively working on Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte TV series, she is having many issues with the production of the Acolyte so far, which is why filming was delayed until November. Now, with the recent criticism of Obi-Wan Kenobi by the Star Wars community, Kathleen Kennedy recently responded again to the fans about the Kenobi TV series, where she went on to apologize to the fans about the character use of REVA. Now, in a recent interview, she was questioned about the backlash over the character of REVA, to where she eventually stated the following to the fans. "It was always in our best interest to stay close to Stuart Beatty's vision for REVA. We decided to actually change some things and needed to actually be changed with the direction of this character about midway through production. Now, we here at Lucasfilm now really, of course, realize that maybe that this was the wrong choice, and we do sincerely apologize that we did not stick with Stuart's vision that you all learned about recently. We realized that after the community learned about Stuart's vision of REVA that was disregarded during production, that fans ended up enjoying his vision more than what we used with Joby Harold's direction for the character. As filmmakers and producing, it is always a learning experience, and especially with a franchise as big as this. We took the necessary steps to take some risks with this character. I realized that, like with Solo: A Star Wars Story, we should have stayed with the original vision that we were working on and see what happened. We loved working with Moses Ingram, and we think that we did a solid job on her character in Kenobi. It was all about taking risks, and maybe we made the wrong choices with some of the character choices in the series." Now, before I move on to the next thing that Kathleen Kennedy talks about here about the character of REVA, I don't know about you guys. To me, this sounds like a half apology, as it always does. She's apologized about the Kenobi TV series before in the past, about how she believes that some things could have been handled differently. We're in the same exact boat here, where basically now she's half apologizing about REVA. It seems like that she doesn't really care about the fan backlash, but that this is about her saving her own image. Kathleen Kennedy is always about saving her own image. I mean, she did the same exact thing with the sequels, where it took about a year and a half for her to kind of do that half apology about what she did with Palpatine and what she did with all the story elements of Rey. And I just gotta say one thing here is that so far, everything related to Obi-Wan Kenobi, from what I'm realizing, is that there's a lot of fans that really have issues with the series, but there's also a handful of fans that enjoyed the series thoroughly, and for those handful of fans out there, that's perfectly fine and okay and all. we all have an opinion here, and that's part of being human at the end of the day. So all comments are open for discussion on if you guys liked the series or disliked it. That's perfectly okay. But there's no denying the fact that the majority of fans at least had some level of an issue with the Kenobi TV series in general, and Lucasfilm just keeps putting it out there, Kathleen Kennedy of course, that it's just a minority, that it's not a majority, that it's just a loud minority of fans convincing other fans apparently to think the same way. That's how Kathleen Kennedy sees things. So that's why I call this a half apology, and why it really comes off as her saving face, or just saving her image, if you will. So moving forward from that, she goes on to say, we had this vision for a Kenobi trilogy that was far more in-depth for REVA than we did with the series, and we worked with those tools that we had to stay close as possible to Stewart's vision as we could. Now, with Star Wars, it's always about learning from your mistakes when filmmaking and evolving off of those mistakes to do better next time. And that's what I am doing with Leslie on Acolyte and what I am doing with Mr. Watts on Skeleton Crew. What we don't support, though, is the expressed hate toward Moses Ingram and labeling her character as a forced agenda. There is no agenda here in the series. This is not our intention in the slightest. We are adapting to change and what needs to be done in these stories. So, here's another prime example of why I believe this is yet again another half apology, is because now she's saying that this was not an agenda, it was nothing like that at all, on any front. Meanwhile, alright, we already know that she has said that this show, needed diversity this and diversity that, and I think that's why this character is very one-dimensional. Again, I'm all for diversity, it's okay, but let the character support the actual story as needed. We love characters like Lando, like Mace Windu, like Boba Fett, and all these different characters. I mean, it really does just go to show you that when you look at everything related to Obi-Wan Kenobi, it really comes off like they didn't care about Kenobi's character development, and it was more so about Reva's character development. Moving on, alright, so she goes on to conclude, we do see now that Stewart's vision for Reva was more involved and had some exciting things to show. However, we wanted to change the design of our character quite a bit to better fit Moses Ingram's take on the character, which is something that we are proud of. We have no regrets with the design changes that we pursued and accomplished in Kenobi for Reva at all, and are glad with the end result. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the original design for Reva was in the Kenobi movie trilogy, or if they even got that far, but there was a drastic design change from the trilogy to the series. It could have been something as simple as her uniform, or maybe even what she was going to be called in the series, who knows, but they did make a major design change according to Kathleen Kennedy from the trilogy over to the actual series. So again, the way that I view the Kenobi show, it has good bits and pieces in it, similar to how I view the sequel trilogy. Do I like the sequel trilogy in its entirety? Not so much. Does it have great moments here and there? Absolutely. The same exact thing goes as follows for Kenobi. For example, I love the Vader and Kenobi duel at the very end. I love when Vader, sets Kenobi on fire, essentially. I mean, it has moments like that that stand out. And if it only had moments like that consistently, I think this series would have worked. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.